Okay. Hey you guys. So, what I want to talk about is something really, really spiritually deep. And this is a spiritual message. If you're seeing this, then you are definitely meant to see it. And I had no intentions on making this video today when I woke up or even this week, but this entire week and even all morning up until this afternoon, I've been, wanting to do some more video content, but I literally prayed to God and asked for guidance and direction as to what to talk about next or what kind of content to make or what to post. And so today was a very peculiar day because uh, it's a beautiful day, and I figure, I go take my dog Blaze for a walk because my child was at church with his dad. And, I had watched my church online, and sometimes I go in person, but they're quite far. So when I'm not able to go in person, I will watch from home online. I'll say my prayers and whatnot, and then I went on about the rest of the day. So like I said, I took my dog for a walk, but before I could go take my dog for a walk, this is where it starts. So I'm leaving my home, and you know, um, I noticed before I'm leaving because I'm prepping my car for my dog because I have a little, you know, it's like a dog leash slash seat belt for dogs, and I have to set all that up, and I have a little thing in the back for him, and so I'm setting all this up, and I'm noticing that suddenly there's a car sitting outside of uh the gate, but it's like a house or two over. So it's at the next two houses over. So you skip one neighbor's house and it's in front of that neighbor's house. It was sitting there very peculiarly. It didn't appear that they were there for the other neighbor's house. It just felt like they were there spying and watching. And I don't know, it just didn't feel right. It was just I got this vibe about it, like they were I don't know, up to no good or something. I don't know. But nonetheless, I didn't have any worry or any fear or anything like that. And I just decided, whatever. I did get my phone to keep it by just in case um, I needed to take any pictures or videos if they decide to do anything weird. I do carry protection and also had my dog Blaze. So even my dog Blaze was noticing that car and was like keeping a good watch out while I was prepping the back of my car for him to sit in. And so I opened the gate and put my dog in the car and we're backing out. And originally I was gonna go in the direction of the car that was down the street spying. But I decided because I in my mind I had this whole thing. It's kind of like I heard, don't just go the other way, avoid confrontation or avoid even giving them the satisfaction of a close up um view or drive by. And I had my sunglasses, so I also went and grabbed put my sunglasses on. And so I go down the other way because there's different ways that you can drive around the neighborhood to get to the park. I go to the park. Me and my dog Blaze enjoy, our time there, and everything. And then I come back like literally like 30 minutes later. Um, and I'm driving, coming back from the opposite direction. I didn't even go the direction that I normally would have to return back. And I, normally I wouldn't have done that, but for some reason I just felt like once again come back from the other direction. And not because I thought that this lady or this car was still there. I didn't even it never even occurred to me that they would still be there. However, I follow I follow discernment. I follow whatever I'm guided to do in most cases. Sometimes, I could be a little hard-headed like all of us, right? But and so I'm coming back towards the house from the opposite direction that I left in. when I was trying to avoid that car before. And this car, I recognize it, is coming down the street towards, toward it towards me, but it's sitting there. I noticed it's sitting there, except it's sitting way past my house now and sitting in front of another neighbor's house, just sitting there. And for some reason, I had a feeling that as soon as I drive past this lady's car, the one that was buying closer down on the other end of the road, closer, two houses over from mine, I had a feeling that she was going to do something really weird. And another car come up behind her, so she felt pressure to move, and she did. But what she did was, I had a feeling she was going to turn around and come back, follow me in my direction. And sure enough, she did exactly that. But she tried to do it, in a way that the act, to make it, try to make it unobvious that she was following me. But I follow my discernment and my intuition real hard. I really do. So when I pick up on something and some vibes, I go with it. So I decide to pick up the pace to get to the house, not out of fear, but just because I just didn't want to give them the satisfaction of thinking um, that they can just follow and spy on people. And I didn't want to make it, I wanted to make sure that they also wouldn't follow me into my driveway or my home. So I literally get to my house real quick, get out, close my gate, and lock it. So glad to have that gate. It comes in handy. I got a camera in front of the house and everything as well. And so, sure enough, here she come driving by, and she thought because she had sunglasses on that she wasn't recognizable or that I wasn't on to her. Anytime somebody has sunglasses on and they're sitting outside of other people's homes, just sitting there, they're surveying, they're spying, they're watching, but they're trying to not be seen. And so I'm like, yeah, that's real peculiar. I had a feeling that she was spying on me for some weird reason, but I had a feeling it had something to do with my HOA having an issue with me addressing a concern about some things that, something that they've recently done that I didn't think was fair to a lot of the, you know, families in the community and whatnot. And I don't know, um I kind of put them on spotlight because I felt like they were doing things that they thought no one would notice or care because they felt, I guess they felt like they were the only ones really truly involved in the community, and no one was paying attention to the fact that they were using their positions in the HOA board to gain an advantage, per se, that would be beneficial to them and the others on the board and a few of their friends in the community. And so uh, I ruffled some feathers, not intentionally. It's just that what I know about myself, and I've come to learn that this is my spiritual journey in this life, is that I can be considered a disruptor, meaning I'm there to wake people up. And I don't do this on purpose. It's just that I get put in situations where I notice things, I observe things, and I pick up on the rights and the wrongs, and I will speak up. I will address the concerns. And a lot of times people, they don't like it when I do that because they want to maintain the status quo. They want to maintain doing the things they were doing unnoticed without anybody addressing them. They don't want to be fair. They just want to do things to their advantage, even if it put others at a disadvantage. Sometimes I just wake people up to their character and their ways and stuff like that. And um, it took me a while to notice that that's kind of a spiritual energy that I carry, but it's not a bad one. It can feel um it can feel unpleasant at times because with that comes pushback. With that comes people not wanting to be challenged. With that comes people accusing you of, being a troublemaker and things like that. But I stand by knowing my intentions comes from a good or a positive place, and it's never coming from a place of necessarily trying to be critical or harsh or judge people or accuse people of things. It's just that I'm all about fairness, and I'm all about speaking up, especially for the underdog, or just speaking up, period, when I see that there's unfairness involved, And so getting back into the story, I go in my house and I'm just like, I said a prayer to God and I said, God, I don't know what's going on with this lady, but I felt like she was sent by somebody in the community to be a spy because they're up to no good. Because I don't know, I had been aware that they were trying to do some things to kind of try to intimidate me, because they all wanted to try to gang up and this and that and other. And they were trying little tactics to try to intimidate me that didn't work and has not worked so far. Why? Because uh, if God is on your side and your intentions are well, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, especially if you're a prayerful person and you're a child of God. And I stand by that. I am a prayerful person. I am a child of God. Am I perfect? No. But do I always try to put my best foot forward and try to be sincere and fair? Yes. Okay. If I make any mistakes or errors in judgment, I will, acknowledge that, especially if someone brings it to my attention. And I will ask God for forgiveness, and I'll try to make things fair or right with others. Um, but sometimes people, they get caught up in believing that they are above God, and they don't even realize that. And these particular people in my community, they seem to have this thing of they have a particular person on a pedestal that, I don't want to say they idol worship him, but the way they regard that person, it's not necessarily healthy. So much so to the point where even when they're wrong, they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to be fair or balanced about things. And this isn't necessarily about my situation as much as what I know to be true is, if God is for you, no one can be against you, right? So I had peace in my spirit, irregardless. I said the prayer that, God, whatever they're trying to plan or plot, I trust you to protect me. Please protect me. Thank you. And amen. And, the prayer was a little bit more in depth than that. But, I said that prayer with peace in my heart. And so I'm in my house and I'm putting some things up. And then I hear Rahab. Rahab. And I recognize that Rahab is a woman from the Bible. Well, actually, I didn't even recognize that Rahab was a woman from the Bible when I first heard Rahab in my mind and my thoughts. I didn't realize that until I looked Rahab up, but I knew Rahab was someone from the Bible, right? And I'm not going to ever pretend to know every story and every person in the Bible. I absolutely do not. I'm still learning myself, okay? I'm still learning. And, so there will be stories and people that may get mentioned that right off the bat, I may not recognize them, or what lesson is behind their journey in the Bible. However, I knew this was a message for me to look into, and so I did. And after I looked into it, I say to God, I said, is this just for me, or do I need to share this with others? And I heard this is for everybody. Everybody is what I heard. And so, what I got out of the story, for those of you who don't know about Rahab, um, Rahab was a prostitute, and she was living in a land that um, God and his people were coming for, because of their ways, their sinful ways. And they weren't, I guess they weren't willing to give up idolatry. They weren't willing to give up idolatry and idol worship and those kind of things and some other sins. And so she had heard about God and his miracles, and it gave her faith. It gave her faith, especially in the position that she was in, being that prostitutes were absolutely frowned upon back then, and really they still are today. And so she got presented with an opportunity of two of God's people, or spies, God's spies or whatever, that they came across her home, and she took them in. She took them in knowing that it would put her at risk, or it could put her at risk, or that it was dangerous. But she had faith. She had faith, and that's why she took the risk to look out for these two men. And in turn, they told her that God will look out for her. They gave her a red ribbon, told her to tie it outside of her home, and that when they come to this land, to for that wall to come down, because God's going to take it down, her and her family will be safe. And so she was absolutely grateful. And this wall was deemed to be, this wall that was around this land was deemed to be, impossible to come down. But when they showed up, they marched for 6 days, and they were doing the trumpets and whatnot, and that wall came down because they were blowing those horns for God in victory, knowing that those walls are going to come down. And those walls came down, except for the wall that would have protected her, Rahab, because she was spared. And so what I get out of this is, it doesn't matter how others view you. She was viewed as a person that was persecuted because of who she was, how she lived. However, everybody can be redeemed if they have faith. And that's what God cares about most, is your character and your faith. Not if you've lived a perfect life, not if others deem you to be perfect or good in their eyes. It doesn't matter what others think of you and what you do. It matters what God thinks of you and what you do. And if God is for you because you have faith in God and you have righteous intentions, then no one can come against you. No one can stand against you, and no weapons formed against you shall prosper. So with that said, not only was I getting a reminder of this and given confirmation of this, because I felt peace in my spirit anyway, like, well, ain't much they gonna do, and if they and if they try, God will deal with them. But for any of you out there that are watching this, that message is for you as well, because I asked God and it says, this for me, or this for everybody? And God said, everybody. So share it. So whatever you're dealing with right now, as you are watching this video or as you come upon it, this is confirmation for you. If you already have been needing confirmation, or this is a message for you. You may not be perfect. You may have not lived a perfect life. You may have not made perfect choices. It's not for you to worry about how other people view you and the things you do or the things you've done. It's what God thinks of you and the faith you have in Him. It's what you're doing to be righteous. Everybody is given grace and the opportunity to change their life around or to correct their mistakes. Everybody is, shown grace if they are absolutely right in their character and they're operating in integrity. Oftentimes, the most righteous or self righteous, I shall say, people who think they're doing good, they think they're doing perfect, and they give themselves so much credit, and others put them up on a pedestal, and they, without realizing it, they're worshiping them and whatnot. Um, I'm sorry, you guys. Sometimes, um, when you really into a message, sometimes the devil don't like it and will try to send somebody to interrupt you. Um, I'm not calling the person who came to interrupt me the devil. I'm just saying that sometimes the devil will try to tap on other people's shoulders to try to interrupt you in the middle of doing something that God wants you to do, and it'll catch you off guard as well. Don't be thrown off. That's life. It happens. But getting back to the message, sometimes people, like I said, they can become very self-righteous, and um other times they will put other people up on pedestals and allow people to feel like they can do no wrong, even when they actually are. And they won't hold each other accountable and whatnot. And they will be quick to want to judge and criticize you or others just because, in their eyes, you are not like them, or you aren't doing what they're doing or whatever they think you should be doing, or they don't think you're such a great this or that or whatever. It doesn't matter what they think of you. It matters what God thinks of you and what God knows of your intentions. Okay, so don't worry about the judgment of others, and don't you get caught up in judging others either. um I'm not demonizing the people in my community or the people of the HOA or anybody for the matter. I just recognize that their intentions are not in the right place. Their character comes into question because of their attitudes and their behaviors when I address a concern. Because they don't want to have to look at their own behavior. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to have to look at their choices and how it has unfairly affected others. They rather just be self-righteous and say, nope, we want to continue to do what we want to do, and you are the bad guy and blah 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 blah, this and that and other. And they'll try to, toss a lot of dirt your way, and they'll even try to intimidate you, and pull all these little tactics and things and whatnot to try to throw you off or to try to get at you. Don't let others intimidate you. Don't let others put you in a place of discomfort or fear or anything like that. Because once again, if you're a child of God, or you are um, operating in righteous energy, if you're trying to do the right thing and you're not trying to do anything or cause any harm to anybody or anyone, and you're just standing um, firmly on being fair and, trying to be a good person in character, there's no need for you to worry about what others are going to say about you. Okay? That's why I heard Rahab today. That's the reminder of that story, because she was, in a sense, very much a person that would be persecuted by many because of what she does or did for a living. However, God saw her true heart and her true intentions, in that she had faith, in that um, even the most imperfect person is the perfect opportunity to make an example of his grace and to teach others a lesson about um, feeling that they are better than others, or feeling like they get to judge others, or thinking they're above judgment themselves by God, because they feel like they're this type of person or that type of person, or they live this type of life and they have this type of title and whatnot. God doesn't care about your titles. He doesn't care about that you may have this good job, or this particular title over a community, or a title at a job, or that you deem yourself to be this type of person and blah blah blah, and that you've done this, you've done that. It doesn't make you better than anybody else, necessarily. It's how God views you, and you don't know how God is viewing somebody else versus you, and they don't know how God is viewing you versus them. Nobody knows. Only God knows. So we have to be careful to not overstep boundaries and be self-righteous and judgmental and persecuting others, or trying to do things to um, have our way and whatnot. Like I said, I'm not a perfect person. Nobody is, but um, some people, they still have a lot of lessons to learn, and unfortunately certain people, they're going to learn the hard way, and God is going to come in and set them straight, you know and so don't you worry about having to be the person to set them straight. You don't have to do anything except continue to be a good person, continue to put your faith in God, and allow God to fight your battles for you, and continue to be a good person. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say. Please comment, hit the like button, and if you have any thing you want to add to this for others to read, or even for me to gain some wisdom out of it, please do share. If you don't have anything nice to say, please refrain from commenting, because it's not necessary. But if you do have any wisdom you want to share in any form, based off of the story of Rahab, or anything else you may want to share, spiritually, or God's word, you're more than welcome to share that in the comment section. I may even pin it. So, peace, love, and God bless all of you. And I pray that you all are well. And if you're not, if you know, post your comment in the comment section that you would like me and others to pray for you, I most certainly will, because I pray for people all the time, even people I don't even know. Okay. So just know that you're not alone in what you're going through. There's plenty of people around the world who are going through similar experiences. And God's people often experience being persecuted by others in society, because as we near towards end times, and I feel like this is the beginning of end times, it says in the book that what is wrong will become right, and what is right will become wrong. Meaning, a lot of God's people are going to become persecuted as they speak up, and as they stand up firm in their faith. Even if you're not a religious person, and I don't consider myself religious, I consider myself spiritual. I feel like I have a personal relationship with God. I pray all the time. I may not know every story in the Bible or the Quran or the Torah. I may not be perfectly sitting in church every Sunday, but I guarantee you I'm always talking to God in my mind and my heart, out loud. I pray every day, and I try to do the best I can. I try to live according to God's will the best I can. I get lost sometimes, everybody does. But, um, maintain your faith. Maintain your faith and understand that um, God's people eventually will feel like they're standing alone, but you're not. There's many of us. And as long as God is standing with us, that's all that matters. Your opinion may be unpopular amongst many, but that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Stand firm in your faith and belief in God and his principles, and all will be well. Even when others try to intimidate you or find ways to persecute, criticize, and judge you. All right, so let me end it right there. Peace and love.